the Business 20 South Africa has seen calls for investments and policy that will promote and push for local manufacturing of health products. Government stakeholders and businesses are meeting in Johannesburg for conversations around advancing health access through local manufacturing and policy innovation. Now, this is a G20 initiative that is looking at the country using its presidency to improve healthcare access and equity. The event has seen multinational health company Haleon pledge a 750 million investment. Now, this will go to the company's facilities in Cape Town. SABC News economics reporter Katlego Legodi is at the B20 meeting and joins us live on the line. Good afternoon, Katlego, yet again. Hopefully second time's a charm. So, as stated a bit earlier, the broader call seems to be one for the advancement of health access through local manufacturing and policy innovation. Just talk us through this call.
Good afternoon to you once again, Mfundo, and to our viewers at home. You're right. I mean, all of these conversations will be high-level conversations looking at South Africa's G20 presidency. This is as we count down. Really, it's a race against time, as we know very well that in the coming month, the country will welcome all of those guests, delegates from world and beyond, just to come into South Africa. And we see today just conversations centered around healthcare, the access to healthcare, but most of it just championing and pushing for investments in ensuring that there is adequate manufacturing of these healthcare products here at home. So today you find a company, Haleon, just coming through to give us a sense of the work that they've been doing over time. They've really just pushed as well to announce that they're going to, in the coming 3 years, Mfundo, invest about 750 million rand into South Africa as infrastructure. They do have a plant in Cape Town, and this is where they manufacture the likes of your grandpa, your Sensodyne and others that will be healthcare products. And we see them today meeting with government officials. The Deputy Minister Zuko Gotlimpi was here. We also have the health department that was here, proudly South African. I'm going to introduce them into the conversation with us today. A very important sector as well, looking at ensuring that we solve for the country, but we hear the conversations as well centered around localization and being intentional around policy that will champion that. Welcome to the SABC Houston. Just give us a sense of, your key takeaways from where we find ourselves today and how we see these conversations moving the country as per our G20 presidency. Welcome.
No, thank you for having me. I think the most critical takeout for us is the fact that this is a company that employs more than 600 people. So they're not saying to us they're going to divest, they're saying they're going to invest more. So at least that way the jobs that have been created will be retained. But over and above that, with that investment comes a commitment to say they're going to look at their value chains and supply chains. And they even gave a number of how many entities within the country they're going to support and buy from. So there are many more jobs that will be supported through this investment, through this deliberate action taken by Haleon today to ensure, to say they are going to continue making the products that they are supplying to the South African market. Up to 85% of everything that they sell within the borders of South Africa will be made in South Africa. And for us, that's critical, in that there is a market, and clearly they've seen that it is possible to service this market with products that are made in South Africa. And I think that's the most critical thing for us.
Another issue that came up very strongly today was around policy. We do have the Public Procurement Act that is in place, but you hear a lot of these role players here talking about ensuring that there is policy that helps with the foreign direct investment that comes into the country, and also just looking at ensuring that as well we work and solve for the continent, because whatever that is manufactured here, we'll see it moving into the continent through the Africa Free Continental Trade Area. Let's talk about policy. What is your thinking around that, especially looking at the work that you do with all of these companies as proudly South African?
Look, at a policy level, we have been advocating for the public sector especially to utilize the procurement spend at their disposal, to be an offtake that can ensure that people like these, guys from Haleon, are able to invest knowing that there will be someone who's going to buy from them. There will be a proper offtake that enables them to over time recoup the investment that they're going to make, and ultimately make the kind of money that they want to make, because no one is going to invest if there is no one that says to you, are going to buy from you. And then we'll call on other players within the private sector who are also utilizing some of these products that Haleon supplies to say, can they start having preferential procurement policies that talk to them as individual corporates and entities buying locally made products and supporting that which is made in South Africa. And that talks to what we then call for as Proudly South African to say anyone who sits with procurement spend should make some sort of a commitment to support that which is made in South Africa, because ultimately when companies like this keep their doors open, we avoid what we are seeing now. Every day there's a company that's filing some section 189 of some sort where they're saying they're going to retrench their workers because markets have dried up, whether domestic or international markets. And so this is a starting point. You need to then get markets here secured, and then we can then be in a position to can start saying what do we do by way of benefiting from the free trade area on the continent. And so with the work we've done as Proudly South African with creating an online store, for example, which has B2B capability, which will have an export function that will enable those who want to sell their products on the continent and across the world to be able to do so. So it was about ensuring that there is a platform that anyone sitting anywhere in the world can utilize to buy products made in South Africa, because the question was always, but where do we find these products? How do we access them? So this is going to be the go-to place. And players like this have decided to partner with us to take advantage of the technology that is now in place, but also to ensure that as we build towards getting more investments like this, there are some who are showing that it is possible to invest in the country and generate much needed revenue whilst creating jobs in the economy.
I have to let you go, but really appreciate your time this afternoon. Mr. Mashimbi coming through as the CEO of Proudly South African, and you hear them just lauding the work that is being done by some of the private sector companies that are moving into this space to work with government. And all of these conversations, as I said, Mfundo, will move into South Africa's G20 summit that will take place here at home in Johannesburg in the coming month. Mfundo, back to you in studio for now.
All right, Katlego, thank you very much for that reportage. That's SABC News economics reporter Legodi, who's at the B20 meeting here in Johannesburg.